Okay, hello, welcome. Let's do a little check-in, make sure that the sound is okay. Okay. There's a text on the screen here. Okay, looks like we are good to go. Let's begin with our Ba Chang Gong, and I'll do a little intro to our practice today. So feet about hip width apart, and we'll begin. Start by looking to the right, come on the balls of the feet. And look forward, come down. Looking left, come up. Center. Looking right. Center. And left. And back to center. And then keeping the heels down, look up. Look center. Look down. Center. Up. Center. Down. Just going to turn the volume down a little bit. And then lean the head to the right. And over to the left. And over to the right. Chin up a bit. Chin down a bit. And over to the left. Chin up. And chin down. And back to center. Half circles with the head. And back to center. Take your thumbs in a light fist. Elbows bent. Roll the shoulders back. And then forward. And fingertips to the collarbone. Roll the elbows forward. And then back. And release the arms, and then shifting to your left foot. Lift the right, shift to the right foot, lift the left, and so on. And the big arm circles forward next. And back. And thumbs in the light fist, elbows out, circle in at the elbow. Other way. Then interlace the fingers, wrist rolls. Other way. And some waves. Reverse. Rubbing the palms. Hands to the kidneys, take the hips around. Other way. And back to center. Shifting to the left foot, right leg comes across, opens out. Then inwards. And other leg opening out. And then in. And heels together, toes together. Rub the palms. Bend the knees, rub the knees. Keeping the knees together, take them around. Other way. And standing up, ankle rotations. Other way. Other foot. Other way. Heels together, feet angled out. Lift the toes, relax the arms, and gently twist. Back to center. Heels out, feet parallel. Bend the knees, really ground yourself. And then rock gently forward and back. And back to center. Now lift one leg with both arms, then the other. Okay, and then shaking it all out with a jump. Shake it all out. One more time. And shaking it out. All right, great. Okay, thank you all for joining us today. We're going to be doing a little bit of a different practice today. We're going to be working with some longer holds. So you might have to take a break at certain points. If you find that you're tired, just take a little child's pose or whatever feels natural, and then join us again when you can. So we're going to start in a wide-legged child's pose first. So you can make your way there. But I just want to read a little thing from one of my favorite books here while you're in the child's pose, which will help you with these longer holds, hopefully. Okay, so in working with longer holds, it becomes a bit of a more mental practice in some cases. So your mind will tend to wander more because you're not going from position to position to position as quickly. So it becomes more of a mental practice. So just become more mindful of your thoughts and notice if any negativities are arising within yourself, and just try to be present with your breath and not get caught up with any thought patterns or negativities. And I'll just quickly read this, and then we'll get started. To To end the misery that has afflicted the human condition for thousands of years, you have to start with yourself and take responsibility for your inner state at any given moment. That means now. Ask yourself, is there any negativity in me at this moment? Then become alert, attentive to your thoughts as well as your emotions. Okay. Oh, I should mention this is from A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Great meditation master. Okay, so walking the hands in, let's come up to a kneeling in all fours position, and we'll take a few cat-cow tilts. Back up a little bit here. Okay, coming to neutral, hands a bit wider, some hip circles next. I'm going to give a bunch of options today for levels of difficulty, so you can keep it fairly easy or work fairly hard if you want. Other way. And coming forward to kneeling push-up position. Tuck the tailbone. Option to do a few chaturanga push-ups if you want. You could also hold plank. Chaturanga, I should say. Okay, and then let's lower down. Slide your left arm out to the side and then peel up the right side of the body. Top leg could go back. Remember, we're taking a little longer now. Okay, coming back to center. Other side. Remember, you can always have your elbow bent if you need to, for space or for comfort. And then coming back to flat. Hands beside the chest, elbows in. Light cobra. And lowering halfway down, press to the floor or lift up to all fours. Now we're going to do a long hold of a version of downward dog. You could do kneeling down dog or puppy pose. Yeah, if you like to take it a little easier, you could do a regular kneeling down dog. You could do a supported down dog with a block under your head. To make it easier, you could do a down dog with blocks under your hands as well. But some version that you can hold personally for about a minute. That's what we're going to do. You might find walking the dog is nice, or some other variation. Okay, and then bending the knees down to the floor. Okay, next we're going to do a long hold in a lunge. So bring the right leg forward, and you could choose to stay in this simple kneeling casual lunge, doing a passive yin stretch. If you want to really work today though, you could come all the way up into a high lunge, but we're going to be holding it for a long hold. So, just try to do a version you can hold for a minute. The one that I'd like to do today is a hip opening lizard. That's my preference, but you could do any lunge that you like. Okay, slowly take your time, transition to the other side for a lunge on the other side. Whatever version you did, of course, try to do on this side if you can. Okay, and then coming back. Now we're going to go into another long down dog hold, but try to do a different version of down dog. Maybe you're doing it on the forearms or head on a block or bent knees. Maybe walking the dog if you didn't. Okay, and then bend the knees, step into the top of the mat. Let's come into a flat back extension. And then bending the knees, ragdoll forward. And slowly rolling up. And warming up to standing. Okay, if you need a little sip of water, now's a good time for that. Wardrobe adjustment, change time. Check in if there's any video issues. Okay, and when you're ready, let's take a wide stance on our mat. Okay, and then from here, turn your left toes in, right toes out, arms up, tone the back leg, and then bend into the right leg. Now we're doing longer holds. I should have mentioned, if you are taking it easier today, there are ways that you can use chairs in order to do standing poses a little bit more easily, for instance. And from here, right forearm down, left arm over, and extended side angle. Anchor from your back leg. Draw yourself up, hands to the hips. Now right toes in, left toes out. Arms up, tone the back leg. Exhale, arms wide, warrior two. Just hold there. Left forearm down, right arm over, extended side angle. Anchor in your back leg, draw yourself up. Left toes in, interlace the hands behind you, roll your shoulders back, lift your heart, tone the legs, and folding forward, or just hanging out in flat back. Maybe drawing your arms over top. And inhale, tucking the tailbone coming up, and bringing the heels in, interlace, turn the palms forward. Taking the knees wide, arms up into goddess pose. And imagine there's a post in the ground in front of you. Inhale, reach up, grab the top of it. Exhale, press the solid ground. You're pressing up. Bring the hands just above the knees. Rest the weight upper body into the legs. Might shift a little side to side. You might take a shoulder forward too. And then sitting nice and low. Maybe shifting side to side in Skandasana. Okay, back to center. Walk the hands forward for wide-legged downward dog. And you can continue holding there as your long hold, or come into a deeper forward fold, holding there long. And release, pressing up. You might bring your feet in if it helps. Firm the legs, tuck the tailbone, and we're up. Bring the feet in the rest of the way. Right, good. If you need a sip of water, and take a moment to get a sip of water. Okay, next we're going to go through sun salutation. And let's go through the sun salutation like we're moving through water, so kind of like we're going through in slow motion a little bit. So slow your breaths, slow your movements, but try to keep everything still in sync, just as if it's slowed down by maybe a quarter. Now staying grounded through the feet. On the next inhalation, take the arms up. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale to fold, bend the knees, plant the hands, step, walker, jump back and lower down. Inhale, up dog or cobra. And exhale back to downward dog. And then bending the knees, look forward, step, walker, jump to the top of the mat. Inhale to flat back. Exhale to fold. Firm legs, inhale, arms up. Exhale, namaste. Shifting to your left foot, take the right foot up into tree pose. Okay, slowly releasing on that side. Shifting to your other foot. Other leg out. Okay, good. And slowly stepping down. Okay, next we're going to go into a warrior one. And you can choose the arms that you use in warrior one. So, of course, hips are forward. So this is warrior one. You can also do heel up if you prefer, and warrior lunge. You could do arms up. You could do cactus arms if you like. You could do the heart opening warrior if you want as well. So right foot forward, hips square to the front. Heel is either up or down, but very distinctly one or the other. Toe in the back leg and bend the right. Now please straighten your front leg. Bring your hands to your hips. Roll the shoulders back in with your heart. Tilt forward. Flat back extension here. If, however, you're really flexible, you could lie forward over your leg. Coming back upright. Let's turn the feet in so we can do that on the other side. Right toes in, left toes out, hips square to the front. Find your arm position you're working with, and then bend into the left leg. Okay, and straighten that front leg, hands to hips, leading with the heart, tilt forward, flat back, or lie over your front leg. Coming back up, toes in, bring the feet in. Now we're going to go through a chair pose as if we're doing a sun citation B, but we're actually not. From here, bend the knees, sitting back, chair pose. Straighten the legs, fold over, Uttanasana, standing forward fold. And bend the knees, plant the hands, step, walk, or jump back. You can go right to downward dog or through a vinyasa. Then bring your feet a bit closer together. Take your right leg up and over, scorpion tail. Try to hold this one a little longer too. Let's come forward to pigeon pose. Right leg forward. Pigeon pose. And you can do upright or bowing pigeon. It's going to be a longer hold, so get comfortable. Okay, taking your time. Switch to the other side. Left leg. Sorry, back to down dog first, rather, for the left leg up and over. Scorpion tail. And swing that forward. Left leg. King pigeon. Okay, and then coming back, downward dog. And then into Malasana, garland pose, seated squat. Now at this point, we're going to be changing into some more back bending stuff. Okay, just a heads up. Let's start with a bit of Supta Virasana. I know you might be a little more restricted in the thighs in this pose, so you might have to modify. You might not be able to go back very far, but to see how much stretch you can get in the quads in this position. Tucking the tailbone, you might be able to go back to your elbows. You might be able to lie back more. This one we won't hold too long. Okay, coming around to a seated position. Feet hip width apart. Sit all the way forward towards your heels and lie back. Bend the elbows, press your elbows into the floor. Now if you want, have your block handy if you want to rest into your block. Otherwise it's going to be a long hold in bridge. So press the elbows into the floor, hips lift up, shoulders under. You can choose if at some point you want to block under your hips. And then slowly lowering down. Now this pose can be done in a few different ways. You can use a blanket, a block, if you like, to make it a little bit gentler. But without any props, it is fish pose. Legs extended, come up on the crown of your head. So that's how you do it without a block. But an alternative to that one is just reaching up and over like this if you're having a hard time getting up onto the crown of the head. Otherwise, fish pose, lying over a block or a blanket is good too. And then slowly coming back and sliding the feet in from there. Now option for those of you, if you wanted to do a full wheel, you could come up into a full wheel, or otherwise coming up into a little bridge, maybe resting onto your hands or a block as another alternative. And slowly coming down, but set your hips down a bit to the right. Extend your left leg along the floor. Place your right foot gently on your left knee. Left hand grabs the right leg and pulls it over into a twist. Reach your right arm out as you look over to the right. And come back to center, hips over to the left. Extend the right leg, left foot gently over the right knee, left arm out. Right hand grabs the left leg. Take it over into a gentle twist, looking left if it's comfortable. And then coming back to the center, hug your knees in the center. And get hold of your ankles or feet. Happy baby. Take a nice long hold here in happy baby, or come over into plow pose if that's an option, if you can get your feet down. And slowly releasing, and press the legs up into Viparit Karani. If you have a block, you can put your hips on a block. Chest lifted, legs up, extra long hold in Viparit Karani. Another 5 or 6 deep breaths here. And then slowly lowering the feet back down to the floor. Move any blocks out if they're there. And then take foot wide position for windshield wiper knees. And you can either do a hold or the constant side to side. And then back to center. Now setting up for Shavasana, make sure that you're really comfortable, because we're also doing a longer hold of Shavasana. We're going to try for a full 5 minutes today if possible. And it can be quite challenging to hold that in stillness, so make sure that your setup is really cozy. You might have the low back supported position like this with the knees bent. You might have the legs extended, classical Shavasana, whatever's more comfortable for you. Shoulder blades down the back, hands palm up. They say that the legs should be slightly wider, your feet should be wider than your hips, and your hands slightly wider than your feet. So your feet slightly wider than your hips, and your hands slightly wider than your feet. Shoulder blades down, chin tucked. Let's take the deep Shavasana. Let me just change the music. Okay, now please feel free to stay in your Shavasana for as long as you can, as long as you like. It's a very relaxing position, but it takes the most discipline to stay in. So it's a really great pose to work on building up your endurance. Thank you for joining us today. I'd like to stay and do another meditation this week. If you want to stay for that, then please feel free and join me for that. We'll take a minute break and then we'll come back and do the meditation. Thanks again for joining us today and working a little bit differently with some longer holds. Let me know some feedback if you have some. I'm trying to make more content available on my YouTube channel, so we're going to put a link to that so you get some more resources and some more information and things so that you can keep practicing at home and even at greater capacity. So hope that you had a great class, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Namaste. Okay, welcome those of you who are staying for meditation. To find a comfortable position, I recommend having a nice soft pad underneath, some elevation to the hips so you can relax your legs into the floor or into a support. For our meditation today, let's do a breath counting meditation. So in breath counting, you try to count the cycles of breath up to 10, and then usually on your journey counting to 10, your mind wanders. So you start over again at 0. So it's this constant journey towards 10. And as soon as your mind gets really sharp and present, you're usually able to go for the whole 10. And then you know that you can do pretty much any meditation from that point on. So it's kind of a test of how sharp is my mind, how clear is my mind, how ready am I to do some deep meditation. So it's a good segue into meditation practice, but it's also a good few-minute meditation practice in and of itself. So let's give it a try. So the cycle of breath is out and in, that's 1, out and in, that's 2, out, in, 3, and so on, trying to get to 10. I like to watch the breath just inside the nose and below the nose because you can feel it there, so it becomes very tangible, very easy to focus on. Okay, so let's take just a few minutes of this breath counting, trying to count to 10. Anytime the mind wanders, we'll start again at 0 without any frustration or feeling of defeat. Just keep coming back and trying again and again. If you get to 10, just try to get to 20, because this is the whole practice today. So we're not really trying to get anywhere. So relaxing the shoulders, let's start to become aware of the breath and start to count the breath. Check your mind, see if it's wandered. Keep coming back again to the breath. I'm sometimes asked just how strict you should be. Like if your mind wanders, but you're still kind of watching your breath, should you count that as starting over? And that depends. If your mind is mostly focused on the breath, then that's fine. If your mind completely wanders, then definitely start over again at 0. You can use your judgment. You don't have to be too strict. Okay, slowly start to bring some motion back into your body, some awareness back into your room. Okay, thank you very much for joining us for the meditation. Now, I read a little bit from a book earlier. I just figured why not endorse a book every week when I remember it. So this is actually the best of this particular book. This is Eckhart Tolle's, let me see if you can see this, A New Earth, and it's like the best of from that book. Highly recommend this as a good read for your yoga and meditation practice. Amazing teacher. very universal too. Well, he definitely appeals to Buddhists for sure. Anyway, thank you very much. If you have any comments or questions or any issues, let me know. And hope to see you again next time. Thanks. Namaste.